Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion.
Hello once again and welcome to Poetry in Motion Sunday. I'm Craig Lewis and you're watching episode 31. Starting with my first poem of the day, this one is called The Voice of Karma Utters in a Tone So Sure. The voice of karma utters in a tone so sure. You may run and you may hide, but you can't escape my law. If each experience we endure was planted by our seed of thought, its prayer therefore must be the intentions that we sport. If such desire nurtured is as strong as a tide, the effect and cause you may find do lack a debt to be cleared. If intentions are good, there's less to be feared. The future's like a wheel that gets to be steered by the actions today. Karma takes note but won't stand in the way. And if one would see virtue when keeping judgment at bay, one would have less debts of karma to pay. Such dogmas, if one does feel glad to receive, they may undo the mistakes of Adam and Eve, and command to proceed as a creature of new, embrace the clear lens and see life from its view. And moving on to my second poem, this one's called She Chose to Make the Call and Clear Her Conscience. She chose to make the call and clear her conscience. Prior to this, her ego would utter much nonsense, like drunken nights out on the town, when many friends have bought the rounds and saved you pounds as if by choice. She was obedient to the voice that whispered softly in her ear, the world is out to hurt you, therefore you must live in fear, until shining like a chandelier, a figure in her dream, which shook her ego from the tallest pedestal she'd ever seen, and hit the ground with such a thud, she jumped and woke out of her dream. The fear she had was changed for love, so hence she made the call, like a white-flagged wave when an army bids the peace to end the war. Address matters with the person like a question when not sure, and thus the outcome exceeded the thoughts she had before. Such thoughts would bolt the door to any voice of reason. Tit for tat, the ego taught her don't forgive them, just get even, which caused such bitter feelings she was forced to stick to grieving and thus deprived the joy. And then as if an act of nature, this dream would come and save her, fix the conflict with her neighbor. Now the harmonies regained when the ego had control. She said it was hard to see the same, but she could see more clearly now the ego's gone like the rain. And for my third and final poem of the day, this one is called Sat Upon This Porch. Sat upon this porch, deep in thought, beer at hand, reasoning with God, trying one's best to understand why the heart of man could be so wicked at its worst. Was such fate predestined from his very birth? As he visited before, or is it his first time on earth? Each answer was in silent form, and then the clouds would provide a storm. It's time one must go in. The beer is done, now wonders feel he must approach the gin. To this melancholy you may ask what holds the string. I know no other answer than to say it's merely sin. From news I heard today, they found a baby dead at a flat 2 blocks away. Both parents were handcuffed and a police car took away. Justice for such tragedy could never see the day. How could such twisted fantasy in one's mind ever play? An infant robbed his future, wished so hard this weren't the case, and it was just a rumor. To drown out the baby screams, they even turned the tunes up. Under the sun this is no new stuff, but when you're scrolling for your phone and realize it's close to home, you can't help but take it personal, like it's someone that you've known. And there you have it, my poetry fix to you for this day. Hope you enjoyed. Until next week, short and sweet. Take care.
Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday.